So, um, hey you guys, this is the Talking Trampoline, and welcome to the first playthrough, I guess, of, and I'm not kidding, the Grunkle Dating-Sim. I found this on Tumblr. It's free, and it's from several Tumblr artists that I also follow on Tumblr, and they're really good. As I can see here in the credits, Sovanite, Kiki, all the good people. All the good people. So, let's get into it. Oh, wait. Tone it down just a little bit. Good old road trips. Full of promise and ripe with potential for adventurous soul-searching and incredible scenery. Or at least that's what you thought before the novelty wore thin. As of now, your legs are cramping up, you've exhausted your travel playlist 2 times over, and your stomach is begging for something to eat. On top of all of that, you're pretty sure you're lost. Driving through Oregon paints a picture of trees and more trees, especially on the endless winding roads that you're taking up north. All that breaks the pattern is a sign that zips past with words that you're just able to make out: Gravity Falls. The road continues on, giant redwoods looming on both sides. My phone is speaking to me. You find yourself anticipating something because as you drive on, you can feel it. Something strange is about to happen here. Something weird. Ooh. And that's when it happens. Your car picks up speed. The change came out of nowhere, and you quickly put your foot on the brakes, but horrifyingly, the car seems to be driving on its own willpower. Trying to stay calm despite the panic welling in your chest, you pull the emergency brake, only to find that the car resists and keeps moving forward, like something is pulling it. The car begins to rattle, the wheels screech against the country road, and you're screaming until crash. Oh shit. Hey! Oh, this is some really good art. Holy crap. There's smoke. Why is there smoke? You cough, fumble for the door, and manage to undo the lock just before the door is wrenched out of from your grasp. Something lands on your shoulder. A hand. Are you alright? Hey! Stanford fucking Pines himself. A man stands at your open car door, his hand on your shoulder leaves to tilt your head up, and he pulls a flashlight from his coat, shining it in your eyes. 2 blinks, and he lets your chin go. His eyes dart over the rest of you, looking for injuries. Still stunned, all you do is watch. What's your name? Poopy Pants. From Captain Underpants. No, I'm just gonna type my name. Your pronouns. She, her. Elise, I'm Stanford Pines, Ford for short. I would shake your hand, but you look shaken up enough as it is. You seem fine as far as I can tell, but you shouldn't head back out there anytime soon. Where on earth were you driving in such a hurry? You open your mouth to explain when a voice calls from inside the house. Poindexter, this better not be one of your experiments again. I've had this place rebuilt too many times to... Hey! Stanley! Holy shit. I'm having a nostalgia moment over here. Oh, the lines, they're actually really fun. I recognize the art of Kiki in here. The owner of the voice walks out of the house, stops legs jawed at the side of your car in the side of, you're guessing, his house. You must have hit your head earlier because you could swear you're seeing double. Sweet Moses, Ford, you've done it this time. What? I had nothing to do with me. I was testing out my magnet gun. My magnet? You bastard! It must have pulled this victim of circumstance into the house. I suppose it is entirely my fault. I'm incredibly sorry. You better fucking be. You wrecked my car. Cry. That's what I would do. I would cry. I'm an emotional baby bitch, okay? A tear streaks down your cheek and before you know it, you're crying. Oh no, they're so uncomfortable. Both men look intensely uncomfortable, but Ford reaches out to give you a hesitant pat on the shoulder. How nice. Hey, look, it's fine, alright? Sure, there's a dent in the hood from the shack's signage and a crack in the windshield that looks like an ominous triangle. But I'm sure she'll still run. You try to start up the car. It sputters, but ultimately nothing happens. You feel like crying again. Oh. Oh, that's all he has to say. Well, let's call a tow truck for this unfortunate soul here and forget I'll take care of it. You're right, it is cheaper to tow it yourself, Sixer. Get that magnet gun out again. No, Stanley, I'm going to fix this. What? Ha? You fix this mess? I figured out a few alien vehicles in my time. Nah, you kidding me? It takes some sort of miracle worker to bring this baby back to life, and this miracle worker is on vacation. Stanley, a moment. Oh shit. Save! That's so awesome. Ford and Stanley turn away and you're left to your thoughts. Who would anticipate a car accident like this in the middle of a road trip? You can take care of a car, but how are you going to get home? They run buses out here, right? So you take a bus out here and then... Ford clears his throat, shifting a little awkwardly in place. Seems like they finished their talk. So, there are a few options. My brother Stanley here could drive you out of town to find a place to stay for the night. Or you could stay the night here. We have some maps and information you can look at in the gift shop, and in the morning we can help you with your car. What do you say? Or fuck yes! Just as you're about to answer, another high-pitched voice comes from inside Mabel. Grunkle Stan, picture this, a whole week of oh my gosh! The girl that runs out of the house comes to a halt at the side of your car. Oh great. Grunkle Ford? Why is it that everyone automatically thinks it's my fault? Well, this time it is my fault. But I've invited Elisa here to stay with us for the night if she'd like. I'm sure I can fix this, I just have to figure out how. Okay. Stanley sighs. I can take a look. Sounds so tired. Being on vacation's pretty boring, and the old Stanmobile hasn't needed a tune-up yet, so it wouldn't be too bad to work on something in the meantime. Thank you, Stanley. I'm sure I can put something together from the gadget I have laying around if you need any specialized tools to help you with the job. And let me introduce myself. I'm Mabel. Mabel. My sweet summer child. You can ask me anything. I pretty much know how everything there is to know about this place. Wait, hold on. I haven't even said anything yet. I appreciate your offer to let me stay and to repair your car. Yeah, it will be as good as new in my hands. I mean, look at my Stanmobile. She's been through the ringer who knows how many times and she's still a beaut. He points out a red car parked a distance away. You can't really see how beautiful it is at this distance, but he sounds really confident. Well, this turn of events is... I'm a really naive piece of shit, so I'm going to say this one even though I don't know what it means, but I'm assuming it's good because this was so suspicious. Free repairs, free lodging, there's no better deal to be found, and if things don't work out, the town probably has some sort of auto repair shop you can head to instead. Well, I accept. Thanks for the help. And my apologies again. What an embarrassment. I must have made such an elementary mistake. You dumbass. Put those 12 PhDs to use, you fucking dumbass. Idiot. As the pines lead As the pines lead you inside the house, Mabel leaves her number in your phone for you to call whenever, and you find out that Ford's twin goes by Stan. This part of the house, but just outside the door, is the Mystery Shack. Hey, you ever been to the Mystery Shack before? I wanted to actually. I saw a bumper sticker while I was on the road and got curious. You're interrupted by a loud triumphant ha! Those bumper stickers were a good investment. And Sixer says they're too plain and graphically simplistic and don't even have an address on them, Stanley. How is anyone supposed to find this place to attract a customer? Sixer, did you hear that? Well, they are graphically simplistic. I don't know how she found the place, let alone thought what is the Mystery Shack was compelling. I kinda liked it. See? She kinda liked it. I like you, Elisa. How about I give you a tour sometime tomorrow, regular price? Tomorrow? Then I'll have to squeeze all my get-to-know-you questions in today. Elisa, tell me, capybara, yes or no? Yes! Yes, capybara, yes! I love capybaras. They're adorable. At that moment, a boy passes in the hallway at the far doorway and Ford calls out to him. Yes, I know English. It is my second language. Why are you looking at me like that? Dipper, my boy. I'm surprised I didn't see you run out of the scene of the crime. Crime? What crime? I have an alibi. Oh, you have someone with you. Haha. Hey, I'm not suspicious at all. Dipper. You have Wendy's hat. That's so fucking adorable. Did you guys see that car in the side of the shack though? For a second, I thought the Manotars were back with a grudge. Yes, about that. Dipper, meet Elisa. I've, stranded her car here by accident. She's staying here for the time being. Sorry, stranded her car here? You crashed it? Yeah, the S in shack fell on it and everything, and the windows are cracked. One window, the windshield. And Elise was lucky to make it out alive. She's fine, no injuries thankfully. The magnet guns are safe despite never having been tested in a formal setting. Yeesh, did you not take safety precautions or anything? Actually, the irony of the situation is that I was trying to install a safety precaution. Fail. Hey, if you two are gonna do your nerd talk, I'm gonna get Elisa set up. Mabel, sweetie. Oh my goodness. Why don't you show Elisa around? Let her stay in, the storage room. That's still empty, right? I'll make it empty. The rest of the day consists of Mabel showing you the storage room you will be staying in, then the kitchen, and the living room, and the hallway, and the bathroom, and pretty much a comprehensive tour of the mundanities of a regular house. Eventually, you find out that the family is even more extended than you knew. The decorative doilies make a lot more sense knowing a grandmother normally lives here. And her grandson, Soos. Or was it Soos? Whatever the name. You look forward to meeting him when he comes for work in the morning. When you go up to the attic, Mabel opens the door to reveal Dipper, no stuck in his book, but you catch him occasionally glancing up at you as he pretends to read. Sneaky. The next member of the family snorts up at you from Mabel's bed, a rotund pink pig who Mabel declares as her best friend and her partner in crime, Waddles. The two are a perfect match, right down to the chubby cheeks and boopable noses. I want to boop their nose. And in the evening, though you're still in disbelief of the state of your car, the family dinner and after dinner TV marathon you'd been invited to made it seem like a normal guest stay rather than a forced circumstance. The Pines family is awesome like that. Returning to the storage room Mabel had shown you earlier, you find an air mattress waiting for you and more pillows and sheets than a summer night warrants. Nah. Trying to make me feel comfortable. It's working. I do feel very comfortable. I'm such a dweeb. You wake to the weak glare of sunlight streaming in through the small, high window in the wall. You can't remember your room having this kind of feature, or any hotel or motel room for that matter, and then yesterday comes crashing back to you. You glance at the time to see that you've slept into the afternoon. Experiencing the accident yesterday must have left you tired out. Fucking exhausted. That's a nasty ass fridge. Despite having been assured yesterday evening that you were free to anything in the fridge, you still feel like you're imposing on the Pines family and try preparing as polite a guest breakfast as you can. That's what I would do. You wash your dishes in the sink before you leave, and just as you're about to exit the kitchen, you bump into Ford. Excuse? Oh. Yes, from yesterday, of course. For a good solid moment, Ford regards you in awkward silence. So how's the weather? It's pretty dark out, huh? Ford clears his throat. I am not good at making conversation. I believe Stanley's taking a look at your car outside if you want to be there for it. You give a nod and make it to leave for real this time, and Ford speaks up again. And Elise, I'm sorry again for the incident. If I'd been smarter about, well, let's just say it's entirely my fault, and you shouldn't worry about this at all. When it comes down to it, Stanley does have a knack for cars. I predict you'll be back on the road in a matter of weeks. You can't keep the dismay off your face and can't really bring yourself to try to either. What am I going to do with weeks? We'll hang out in Gravity Falls, go mini golfing, go to the graveyard, look at some clouds in the shape of balloons. I don't know. Ford, who's gone kind of uncomfortable and closed off to when your face fell, recovers at the prospect of a question he can answer. Well, there's the town to tour, of course. Thanks. My son is very pessimistic. And the mystery check. He says that with a lot of resentment. Mystery check, which once was my house. But if you ask me, all that pales in comparison to... Hold on, do you hear that? Ford turns to the kitchen doorway to investigate. Sounds like... The sound comes again, and this time you hear it as well. The squeal of a pig, followed by a pair of quick footsteps running down the stairs. Waddle stumbles past the open kitchen doorway, and Mabel comes into view soon after, few sheets of paper clutched in hand. Ford steps quickly out of the kitchen, and you follow to the doorway, getting there just in time to see the apparent tug of war between Mabel and her pig over a saliva-covered sheet of paper. My mom just sneezed. The paper rips, and after nearly toppling backward from her efforts, Mabel recovers, snatching the scrap of ripped paper from Waddle's jaw and lifting both pieces up victoriously. Haha! Mabel wins again. Now I just gotta find Grunkle Ford. Ford, who'd run forward and held a hand out to steady this energetic child when she'd been in danger of toppling over, now finds a number of crumpled sheets of paper shoved into his hands. Mabel tugs urgently at his coat. Grunkle Ford, you have to help me. Ford kneels down to face Mabel with a serious, though concerned look. Slow down, Mabel, what's the matter? Dipper found a stack of pages from your old journal, and I walked in and Waddles ran up and started eating one of them, and he must have been chewing on it to warn me, Grunkle Ford, because look! Mabel takes the ripped halves of paper back from Ford's hand and joins them together, holding it up for Ford to see. I see. And you took it as a warning? Yes! It says here that it eats small dogs. Waddles is a small pig, but he sort of looks like a dog from far away, and Waddles must have feared for his life. Waddles seems to second this notion with a snort. Or not, as it seems the pig is lounging adorably a short distance away in the hallway. Adorable. He's going to be the death of me. You can't imagine what this dangerous predator could be. Some kind of wolf? Something bigger? You're suddenly not so keen on staying anymore. Stop whining. Remember the pterodactyl I told you about? Waddles was so scared that time I can't let him leave my side. Pterodactyl? You suppose pigs are allowed in museums around here? How about I finish that repellent? I never got around to completing. That'll keep Waddles safe from harm. Mabel flops down on the floor in relief. I love that face with the little star. Yay! Yay! Grunkle 4, you're an actual lifesaver. Waddles, you have nothing to fear. Ford chuckles, lifting himself out of the kneel and standing back up. Alright, I'll get my recipe. Ford turns to leave and you suddenly remember that with nothing better to do for the weeks you're going to be here, it wouldn't actually hurt to get to know Ford. He seems to know what there is to do around town anyway, and you'll need that not to die from boredom in the first week. Or anything that crawls around in Gravity Falls. Ooh, spooky hands. Or more pressingly, you could go check on your car and see what Stan's made of it so far. You're not exactly eager to face seeing your car in the side of the house again though. What should you do? Get to know Ford or check on your car? Well, let's check on my fucking car. Right now I'm imagining my Suzuki Wagon Air, which is basically a brick on 4 wheels with the steering wheel and a couple of windows and doors. In the side of the Mystery Shack. That's quite a sight actually. The Mystery Shack should only have 4 main sides, but you feel like you've made your rounds past 5 of them before finally seeing your absolute wreck of a car. You swear it looks even worse than it did when you crashed it. Save. Let's save this wreck of a car. Stan stands before it, hands on his hips as he looks at the large wooden S that made its indent in the car's hood. So, dude, how bad is it? I can't tell yet, not till I get this letter off the hood. That S never did like to stay in place. Mystery hack, huh? Look, if you're gonna insult me. Oh, you were reading the sign. I'm fixing that later, alright? Just avert your eyes, don't look at it. But let's help him. I'd feel awkward if I just had to stand there staring at how he does his work, you know. Guess we should fix it as soon as possible then. Sounds good to me. Give me a hand here, would you? Stan directs you to help him push the wooden S off the car. It stalls a little in its own dent, but with another firm shove, its end meets the ground. Stan gives it another push with a grunt, and it tips, falling completely to the ground with a whoomp. Now that it's free of its burden, Stan lifts up the dented hood of the car to take a look inside. The hms and hus, and rubs a hand over his chin in thought, walking over to his toolbox and grabbing a tool before walking back, still assessing the damage. Yeah, this is gonna take a while. You've got parts that need replacing, not to mention she's not gonna look so hot after this. Not unless Ford got the tech squirreled away somewhere that can smooth out these dents. The more he tells you of the situation, the more this all sinks in. You really are stuck here. Stan spots your worried frown. Hey, Elisa, right? Look, I know how this sounds. But with me on the job, you'll be all set and back on that road in no time. You think so? Good, I know so. I've even got a plan to get those replacement parts of yours. Might not be able to clean up all these scuff marks after I'm done, but she'll run. And hey, so maybe you've got to stay a couple of days, so what? There are worse places to get stranded, believe me. I'm sure you're the expert on that, Stanley. In fact, I'd even say the Mystery Shack is the best place to get stranded. We've got all tons of stuff for people just passing through. Merchandise, magic, mystery, and other M words, mayhem. You get the idea. Stan tosses the tool in his hand back in the toolbox, exchanging it for another. He works for a while longer in your silence, metallic clanks and the occasional heavy breath, all that mixes in with the sounds of the outdoors. You stand by, awkward, uncomfortable, and a little useless. Can I help with anything? Know anything about cars? Fuck no, dude. I know that if you want to change a tire, your car should be on the ground before you lift it up with a crank, because otherwise the wheel will just turn while you do the thing. I know something. No. Stan straightens, cracks his back, sets down a tool before leaning casually against the nearest load-bearing surface. He wipes his forehead, lets his hand fall to his waist, and gives you an assessing look. How about collages? Tall tales? Improv? Yeah, I think I can handle that, but what does that have to do with this? You gesture at your stranded car, held in limbo between life and death by nothing other than Stan Pines' car expertise and a little bit of luck. Nothing. I was planning on having you help me out, Seuss, and what the fuck am I doing? Nothing. I was planning on having you help me help Seuss around the shack, a favor for a favor. What do you say? Well, it's more interesting than helping Ford with this pest problem. You accept. Alright, follow me. Ford never said anything about a pest, did he? Just some repellent stuff for waddles. You follow back into the mystery shack, passing by the showroom, getting a glimpse of an energetic figure leading a flock of tourists through a veritable sea of obviously fabricated oddities. You hear the words, and this is the ninth wonder of the world, right inside Mystery Shack. It's what makes this place world famous, dudes. Stan notices your pace slowing as you listen and tosses an explanation back at you. That's Zeus. During operation hours, he's the Mystery Shack's one and only Mr. Mystery. I told him he didn't have to keep the shack running while he's on vacation, but the kid's got a passion for the role. You interested in this kind of stuff? I was thinking about going on a tour. It feels weird now that you're staying at a tourist trap though, and you were kind of going to poke fun at the exhibits, harder to do when you have to live around your tour guide. It's fine really. Now I think I was gonna give you a tour of the place. You'll get one from the founder himself. You ever hear of one of my plugs on the radio? You weren't really paying attention to the radio during the drive, just taking in the Oregon scenery. See the signs pointing to this place for over a mile down the road? Again, you were pretty occupied with the Oregon scenery, but you guess you did see some signs with question marks on them. That's some vague advertising. Just seeing what works. Bumper stickers, huh? Ha! Still got one on Ford. Anyway, follow me, folks. Well, folk, get ready to be amazed. Stan starts leading you back the way you came. You trail behind him, a little skeptical, but definitely curious. Didn't you say the founder would lead this tour? Is Seuss the founder? Stan laughs. What? No, I'm the founder. Built this place from the ground up. Well, metaphorically speaking, I mean, the house was here and the junk was here, but I was the one who spun this place into a wondrous house of mysterious junk. Stan gestures with his hands like he's smoothing out a rainbow. You're not very impressed. Nope. Prepare to be amazed. You're still not very impressed, but his energy gets you hoping you'll be amazed anyway. Here's a tour group in the showroom right now, so I'll be taking a different cycle so you completely misses them. We're starting in the gift shop. You enter the gift shop, a simple room crowded top to bottom with the standard tourist souvenirs and merchandise. You see t-shirts with question marks, mugs with question marks, and pretty much everything has question marks. In a corner of the room stands a lumpy attempt of a statue labeled the Founder, recognizable as Stan only by his nose and glasses. Wait here. There you go. This room usually comes after I butter the customers up into buying things, but since you're staying a while, I'll have plenty of time to sell you stuff later. Take a look around. If you see an impulse buy, make it. Nothing like trusting your instincts. Founder statue. Yeah, should have asked Mabel to carve it. You gotta admit that every version of me's got a charming smile, though. Get out of here. Jar of eyeballs. I thought we sold this thing years ago. Do you still have the Eye of Sauron? Sauron? Huh? I don't fucking know. Ha! Nah, I forgot to put a price on it. Just has a $sign on it. Stan takes a darker marker and squeezes in a $9.99. Then goes back and makes it $29.99. The jar's got a lot of eyeballs. $1 for each eyeball. T-shirt. Who doesn't love a good souvenir t-shirt? They're great for layering. And they've got the characteristic mystery shack question mark on them. What makes it a mystery shack question mark instead of a regular question mark? You ask too many questions. Or do you? He says the last part in an exaggerated tone that betrays it as a sales pitch. This guy has no subtlety. I want a t-shirt. Can I get a t-shirt? I'm gonna look on the internet later, see if there's a t-shirt with a question mark on it. Pine tree hat. Dipper used to wear one of those. Sus tells me they sold like hotcakes after Ford tossed his journals into the bottom spit. Funny, those events have no correlation. Journals? Bottomless pit? Well, we'll have a chance to swing by the bottomless pit later. It's a prime spot on every tour because the troublemakers always accidentally trip in and I get to lead the tour without them for 20 minutes. I'm kidding! Should have seen the look on your face. I bet that's a thing that actually happens. He is enough of an asshole to do that sort of stuff. No, just kidding. He's not an asshole. He's a fucking hero. Aztec calendar. I absolutely know how to read that thing and you should buy it. No, you don't. Fucking liar. Freezer full of iced goods. Just because you're staying over doesn't mean you get to sneak over here for a popsicle. I get to that. I get to do that, but that's cause this used to be my place and I get founder benefits. I also get founder dibs on the pineapple ice pops. Pineapple ice pops. Pyramid of mugs. You can't actually take one out of that stack. I glued them together way back when. Secret business trick. And you're telling me because no one will ever believe you. Then they'll try it and the whole stack will fall on the floor. You notice the you break it, you buy it sign on the wall. Oh! Sneaky old bastard. Employee of every month. Sue's always been the hardest worker in the place. It was only natural to hand it over to him. That's very sweet. You sure? Well, I think I hear the tour group heading out of the showroom anyway. That was fun. Now, most tourists don't appreciate nature's artistic genius, by which I mean my artistic genius, because I remembered you're gonna help me out today. You don't think of money-making wonder like the Sasquatch by having a boring 9-to-5 office job. You think it up when you wonder, why hasn't anyone found the Sasquatch? Could it be that its name has been mispronounced this whole time? Anyway, just let me know when you've soaked up enough inspiration from this room, because you're gonna need to use it right after. Do I get to look at shit? These lights are nice. Whatever this thing is, looks like a crown on you. Alright, come on, you're gonna see what happens. What makes this place the mystery shack instead of just the shack. The shack. Bruh. So, dude. I'm not cool at all. We're making another attraction for the showroom. You follow Stan through the living room to the kitchen, where stuffing and animal parts are strewn across the surface to your left. Oh dear. Stan pulls out a thick needle and a spool of thread, and as an afterthought adds a couple of nails and a hammer to the pile. It seems a little unsanitary to do this right across from the fridge, and has the potential to look almost gruesome if it weren't so oddly cartoonish. He steps up to the workspace and pulls out the googly eyes that have been glued over the lifeless, glassy ones typical of taxidermy. Mabel's contributions to the craft project remain firmly intact. Huh, that's what I get for letting Mabel bring her stash for scrapbooking supplies. That's one more thing to add to the backstory. Backstory? What, you don't think tourists are dumb enough to believe that the thing you're selling them is what you tell them and it's just like that, do you? Cause if you do, you'll be set to do business in Gravity Falls. Anywhere else though, customers take a little more work. See, every good piece here comes with a skull and some kind of story. Or if you're Poindexter, some kind of lore. Horror movies work pretty well cause with enough suggestion, people can always find ways to spook themselves. Done it for years, it's kind of an art. Stan appears nonchalant, but you see a quiet pride within him. I'll be honest, it sounds hard, because you got real creative for that stuff, and I like to draw a whole lot, and I know it's hard to come up with ideas. I mean, it's a lot of... I have a lot of ideas lately, but sometimes the tank is just dry. Just completely dry. That's why I'm here, to make sure you do it right. You're still doing all the work though. You said you've done this for years. Always had a knack for it, even when I was a kid. Sure, there was a little learning curve involved, and I've had a few unhappy customers over the years. Stan pauses, seemingly to reminiscence. Am I pronouncing that right? Reminisce. Whatever. And a mixed smile grimace on his face tells you he probably had many unhappy customers. But mostly I've run a great business on telling lies. I mean stories. You're learning from a true master, kid. I bet. So why don't you run this place anymore? Stan grin melts into something softer, maybe a little bittersweet. My brother wanted to drag me off a trip with him. Couldn't say no, and I couldn't just close the place, so I left it all to Seuss. He practically grew up in this place, you know. Definitely wouldn't have entrusted it to Wendy. She's usually the cashier around here in the summer. It's weird having to explain all this to you. I keep thinking you already know all this. Don't break the fourth wall, okay? Don't break the... You work like you're still part of this place. You can take a man out of the mystery shack, but you can never take the mystery out of a man. Specifically me. Which is why I'm back to work even though I don't have to. 30 years of the same routine will do that to you. What's your original version for the shack? Vision? Make money. What other vision do you need? But over the years, sure, I've used the mystery line for advertising. Who isn't curious? Who doesn't want to be amazed? I want to be amazed. Raise his hand like a kid in kindergarten. Kids are the most skeptical of the bunch though, let me tell you. Once they hit about 8 or 9, they love trying to prove it's all fake. I never had that. I never did. Then they get older, realize there's nothing good left in the world unless you pretend there is, and everyone pretends along with you cause they're all desperate. Well shit, Stan. Well shit. Just wait to kill the mood, man. And I thought I was a fucking pessimist. Stan turns his attention back to the workspace, and you notice once more the daunting selection of items that lay upon the table. It's not the number but the variety that makes you unsure of how you're going to craft something out of this. Yeah, I don't know what you're gonna do with this stuff. Surprise me. Stan walks off the side to, you guess, to do some work of his own. You're glad he's not going to watch you the whole way through. How are you going to approach this? Piece together as many matching parts as you can find. Boring. Piece together as many disparate parts as you can find. Keep things a nice mix of matched and mismatched. Let's keep this nice and mixed up. Now, how should you keep these parts attached? Use some hand stitching and really tie this all together. I do have experience with stitching. I did a fashion major. Okay, you have a base to work off of. What's next? Color in some of the fur to X out the googly eyes. Hey Stan, I'm finished. Hey, not bad Elise, not bad at all. Stan lifts your anomalous amalgam aloft triumphantly. So what's the story here? Give it to me. Just have fun with it. This is a fish squirkin. A fish squirrel chicken. Stan nods appraisingly. Sounds like you got the hang of this. Dust off shoulder. You can't see it because I don't have webcam, but I did like the wiping thing on my shoulder. Alright, this thing about as close to show ready as it'll get. Wait here a sec. Stan carries the showpiece out of the room. After a few moments you hear his footsteps return and he comes into the room with 2 cans of pit cola. Stan sets one down on the dining table, its condensation starting to slow drip onto the table's surface. He waves you over to join him and you'll slide into the seat across from him. Nothing like a cold one to finish up the day. Cheers. He picks up his can, gesturing towards you with it as he leans leisurely back into his chair, and you watch as he takes a sip. It's a nice looking sip, and now you're staring. You pull over your own can and pop it open. So, got any questions for me? Ah! Jesus!
Wie ben je vredesnaam voor aan het lezen?
Nee, ik maak een video. Die zit er middenin. Ga maar gauw. My mom's face when I told her I was making a video. She practically ran out the room. Talking tends to ease me into a new place. Might do the same for you. Cheers, Mom. So, got any questions for me? What? Being so noisy in the background, Jesus Christ. No manners. About Ford. Is Ford usually like that? You mean trying to fix what ain't broken and ending up making trouble? Nah, he was the good twin growing up. You were the troublemaker, I can tell. Stan laughs. You have no idea. About the exhibits. The showroom already seemed full when I saw it earlier. Why make more? Tourists love variety. Put up a sign advertising a new attraction and they'll come pouring through the doors. When I started this place, I didn't think it, like making these. It used to be just another thing that made money. Now I'm stuck with it, cause 30-something years of routine will do that to a man. Stan sounds gruff, but it's a fond gruffness. Sixer says keeping familiar habits helps too, so I've kept it up. You think I could sell some of these as art pieces? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I could pay them up to buyers and sell them at even more ridiculous prices than I usually would. I'd buy one. I'm holding you to that. I would buy one. About you. Tell me about you, bro. So tell me about yourself. Stan laughs nervously. What is this, a first date? No. Well, I'm Pines, Stan Pines, Imaginator, Town Darling, used to be proprietor of the Mystery Shack. He pauses, and stays paused. You give him an expectant look that wants him to continue, and he clears his throat, nervous. Wait, you were serious? I don't get this often. The longest I can get people to listen to me is when I'm selling them something, and even then it's tough luck. The last time someone listened to me, they tried to eat me. Can you believe that? I barely got much meat left on me. What was her name? Darlene or something? And? Keep going, you can't just leave it there. Stan gives an uncertain smile, which becomes a full-on grin, and he laughs. Alright, I'll tell you. So you see, there's this irresistible thing called revenge. Stan tells you a tale of a road trip, a mountain full of mummies, and a woman who was secretly a spider. You don't believe a word of it, but find yourself enjoying it anyway. Stan knows how to hold his audience in a decent suspense, and he seems to light up whenever you laugh at the right parts, grinning along with you. Before today, you'd never even heard of Mr. Mystery before, but now you feel like you're really seeing something special here, one-on-one with the man himself. Okay, tell me about your past, man, dude. You're really interested in me, huh? Or do you ask everyone these kinds of questions? Jeez, don't put me there. Christ, on a bicycle. Jeez. For fuck's sake. Alright, ever heard of smuggling pugs? No, that's still the truth. No, I have not. Exactly. That's cause everyone in the business is good at keeping secrets. Really good. So why am I telling you now? I'm out of the business. I don't care. This absolutely isn't so that if authorities question you, you give false information that leads them off my trail. Right. Stanley loads you up with false information that may or may not contain kernels of truth within them. It's surprisingly hard to tell whether the crazier parts are embellishment or the real deal. Stan tips his head back to get the final sip of pit, then sets his empty can down with an air of finality. Well, Elisa, you did good for your first try. If you feel like helping me around again sometime, returning the favor on the car, let me know. You're not, and Stan gets up to leave when you remember something. Wait, I still owe you the price of admission, right? For the tour earlier? No, don't worry about it. Gives me something to hold over you if I need it. Blackmail material. Haha. He says that and he leaves, but even from what little you've seen from him, you feel like Stan's not the time to really hold that over you. At least not for anything serious. This tourist trap thing might have more to offer than you thought it would. What? What the fuck is this? What the fuck? It's like you were made for each other? Is that Ford? Is it Mabel's doing? Love meter. Can you give me dating tips? You're good at this. Mabel. Little shit. Oh, Jesus, save. Okay. I'm gonna get myself a drink because my throat is drying up as all hell. So I'll be right back. Okay. I got some extra water from downstairs and a pillow for my back. Let's do this. You wake up to a loud crash downstairs, not entirely uncommon in this house, you're quickly finding out, but still disconcerting. Fucking stairs. I'm all tired now. Okay, breathe. More clutters and thumbs lead you to the kitchen, where can I use space too? Oh, I can! Where Mabel teeters on a short step ladder in front of the pantry. Standing on her tiptoes, she reaches as high as she can for a small yellow box on the top shelf. Pancake mix! Without a word, you get to her side and pluck the box from the shelf for her, placing it into her outstretched hand. Oh, Elisa, thank you. Grunkle Stan put it on the top shelf for some reason, but I want to... No need. Some Mabel cakes. It's a breakfast emergency. She waggles her free fingers in your face and you can't help but laugh. You can tell the house becomes more alive when this kid's around. Wanna help me make 'em? We only need chocolate milk, coffee, pink food coloring, and pot of goldos to make this breakfast dream a breakfast reality. As delicious as that sounds, you're inclined to ask where the coffee comes into the mix when you realize this house is suspiciously quiet. Mabel, where is everybody? Oh, Grunkle Stan needed stuff for your car, so he went to get some Mackie-Tacky stuff for that. I think Grunkle Ford's somewhere. I heard the abominable bro man. He heard the abominable bro man was trying to steal soda from campers, so he went to help them out. Yup, that's where he went. Totally knew that. So he left you guys to make breakfast on your own? You don't know the family well enough to know this is commonplace, so the idea of leaving two teenagers alone to fend for themselves seems fine, if one of the teenagers wasn't Mabel anyway. You still don't know how coffee fits into her Mabel cakes, but no, you don't really want to know. Dipper attempts to hide the pancake mix from Mabel while she's grabbing the chocolate milk from the fridge. Apparently he doesn't want to find out either. Mabel, while your Mabel cakes sound absolutely divine, why don't we... Quick, think of something so you don't hurt her feelings. Go out for breakfast. Is there somewhere we can go out to get breakfast? We should really save the Mabel cakes for your great uncles get back. I know they wouldn't want to miss them. But I want to perfect my recipe. I have to get better at cooking and baking and stuff so I can survive out there in the world. What if in a high school I help to bake stuff and people are better than me? Mabel looks very agitated, tugging at her hair with both hands. If I can't make the perfect Mabel cakes, I can never be on Bad Dreams Dining. I gotta impress Gerald Rambone, Elise. It's my destiny. Wait a minute. Gerald Rambone? Gordon Ramsay? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Think quick of something so you don't hurt her feelings. Dipper, can you cook? That's definitely not going to hurt her feelings at all. Maybe Dipper can help you make something different. We should save the Mabel cakes for another day. A more special day. But Elisa... Mabel, still standing on the stepladder, reaches up and squishes your cheeks together. Her wide eyes staring into your soul. Every day is a special day with Mabel cakes. You glance at Dipper, making a "please help me and I'll buy you breakfast" face. You hope he understands. Oh yeah, Dipper, I know you want to cook more since you're becoming an adult. Sure, but don't you think Grunkle Stan and Great Uncle Ford should be here to try them too? And not just me, again. Mabel hops off the stepladder and ponders her brother's question, lips pursed. Eventually she nods, beaming at you both. You're right, Dipper. I can't deny them that experience. You give Dipper a grateful smile over Mabel's head as she puts the ingredients back in the refrigerator. He grins back at you, rubbing the back of his neck. You wonder if he got that from one of his grunkles. That's clever, now that you think about it. Great plus uncle to make grunkle. Saves time on syllables. We should go to Greasy's. They have some of the best pancakes there with like 3 different kinds of syrup if you ask Lazy Susan nicely. Yeah, it's not super far. Let's go. The kids are about to head out of the kitchen when you realize something. Wait, aren't you going to leave a note for your grunkles about where we're going? Oh right, good call. Dipper scribbles out a note for Stanley Ford, sticks it to the front door of the shack with one of Mabel's stickers. The kids lead the way towards the town, explaining on various landmarks and the wild and wonderful stories attached to them along the way. And this is where we saw those two ghostly old people in a convenience store. Strange, but you not regardless. Maybe she just meant they were so old they looked like ghosts. But we know better, don't we? Dipper points out the diner in the distance, a log-shaped building atop of a train cart, and the three of you head inside. You soon realize that the kids know just about everyone in this town. Several people, young and old, wave at them as the three of you find a table, and you get the feeling that they're almost famous in Gravity Falls, though you're not entirely sure why. They're pretty cute though. Mabel blows the paper wrapper of her straw at Dipper's face, and he retaliates by sweating her with the laminated menu. An elderly woman in pastel pink waitress dress comes up to the table. You catch the name on her tag, Susan. Hiya kids and stranger, what can I get for you? Pancakes and all 3 syrups for me, please, Lazy Susan. Same for me actually. Lazy Susan turns to you, notepad in hand. What will you get? Let's be let's not go with the mainstream here, okay? I'm a hipster. Let's go with waffles. Coming right up, sweetie. Wink, wink. Lazy Susan winks. I called it. With her good eye, of course, and heads to the back of the diner. Thanks, Lazy Susan. The wait for your food to arrive feels longer here than most, mainly due to Mabel and Dipper using this time to interrogate you. At first, it's somewhat intimidating. You literally crashed into their house and started hanging out with their great uncles, so they have lots of questions. Once their irrational fear of 2 13-year-olds fades out, you recognize their interview for what really is. They care about their grunkles. If you do start hanging out with them more, they want to know as much about you as possible. Mabel's questions are somewhat nonsensical. So if you were stranded on a desert island with no boat, no cheating, what would you take with you? That's a good question. I would take my video games. Though maybe they'd be useless without a console, without electricity. Food then! While Dippers are far more careful and calculated, what were you doing before you came here? School, work, both, neither? Did you know about Gravity Falls before you crashed into the shack? You immediately know which Grunkle each twin takes after. Stan and Mabel, goofy partners in crime versus the quiet brainiacs Ford and Dipper. It's an intriguing contrast, especially now that you're thrown into the middle of the bunch. But as the twins race to see which syrup bottle drips into the mouth the fastest, Dipper's blueberry syrup beats Mabel's classic maple by half a millisecond, you swear on it. You know that these kids do a lot more for their great uncles than just be cute counterparts. And here we go. Enjoy, kiddos. Let me know if you need anything else. Lazy Susan gives out the respective plates and the kids go quiet, shoveling down their food as if they never had been fed before. Between mouthfuls, you get a few more questions about yourself and your theories on aliens versus which member of M Synchronized was your favorite. But the table is near silent as the 3 of you eat. That is until Mabel speaks up through a mouthful of pancake. Rude, Mabel. Finish eating. So Elise, if in totally made up and not real situation you had to pick who your favorite was, who would you pick? Grunkle Stan or Grunkle Ford? This seems too bland compared to the other cutesy questions. Dipper elbows his sister not so subtly as she elbows him right back, wide eyes staring at him in a sibling-linked look you can't decipher. Like, say you're in a movie, like one of those weird movies Grunkle Stan watches on TV with the ladies in poofy dresses riding horses. Awfully specific, but you let her continue, taking another bite of your food. You're the main character of this movie, and you got 2 guys who are both madly in love with you. This one doesn't mess around with getting right to the point, huh? but you could only marry one of them, so you could be the next in line to the throne. What would you do? If Grunkle Stan and Grunkle Ford were your choices, who would you go with? Mabel, that's kind of weird, isn't it? Like really weird and kind of gross. Come on, Dipper. This is important information that's vital to my research. Mabel. What research? None of your business. Yet I'm still gathering other research. Mabel leans towards Dipper's ears to whisper, waggling her brow at you before she replies, in not a whisper but quite the opposite, research into how you're a huge nerd! And with that, Mabel catapults the spoonful of melted butter from atop her pancakes onto Dipper's cheek with a very satisfying splat. Dipper jerks in disgust, but retaliates by smearing strawberry syrup onto Mabel's nose, a drop of stickiness plopping onto her sweater. Oh no! Ew, gross! You're gross. There's no vitriol between the twins, but lots of giggles and a few more various food missiles. Eventually, syrup streaks Mabel's cheekbones and some of her hair. Oh god, that's probably never coming out. And Dipper has a small piece of pancake stuck to his face. You guys are dorks. Maybe you're right, but we're twins, so it's adorable. If you say so, Mabel. Wait, quick, Elise, take a picture of us with Dipper's pancake on his face. I have what? He swipes quickly at his face and after several passes gets it off. I was trying to get more candid pictures of us. Mabel, you have syrup everywhere. Really? Ugh, then it would have been the perfect photo. Here, let me get it. Your hands are sticky enough. You get back up with napkin in hand and try to swipe some of the syrup off of Mabel's cheeks. The excess syrup wipes off easily, but a good portion just doesn't budge. Mabel, so messy. Get it together. Also don't, because then you lose your charm as Mabel. I mean, maybe syrup as makeup is the next new look. That's one word for it, kid. Hey! We wondered where you went once we came back to a suspiciously quiet house. If it weren't for Dipper's note, we would have been worried. Sixer would have been worried. I tried to tell him you kids pull this kind of stuff all the time, heading out unannounced, putting stress on your poor old Grunkle's heart. He puts a hand over his heart dramatically. All those missing hours of unpaid child labor. Actually, that note wasn't me. Well, I wrote it, but Elise is the one who said we should so that you'd know where he went. English. Both Ford and Stan turned to look at you surprised. Really? Figured these two knuckleheads dragged you here. Why not make breakfast at home? This place is at least a 15-minute walk from the shack. Well... You glance at Dipper, swiping his finger across Mabel's cheeks and licking the blueberry syrup off. Mabel has a pancake in her mouth, chewing at it like a grazing sheep. I'm imagining the derpy eye, when the pupils are not focused, like with Mabel. That might be a fun thing to draw. I might draw this game some fan art to go with the text. I wanted to treat them to do something, I guess. It's the least I can do. You're letting me stay with you and fixing my car. I thought since you were gone, I'd take these two out for a change. Also, Mabel was gonna make Mabel cakes again. You're just mad you can't even get the toast right. But yes, I can. I burned it one time. One time. Dipper holds his syrup-tipped finger in the air, indignant. Well, Mabel wanted you guys to enjoy her Mabel cakes too, and since there wasn't much food, I figured I'd take them out. Ford asked Mabel about her creation, wondering how much extra caffeine one could gain from adding instant coffee to the concoction, but Stan stays quiet. You catch him out of the corner of your eye. He's staring at you, a lopsided smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. Heb ik iets van je aan? boy. Heb ik iets van... That's Dutch for, am I wearing something of you? Which is kind of like, what are you looking at? Huh, thanks, Elisa. Appreciate it. Ah, he's blushing. Look at this. Look at you. He's blushing. This is amazing. Almost choking on my fucking water. Oh my god. It's beautiful. And I'm gonna save it on that. I love this game. Oh, no problem at all. You smile warmly at Stan despite the heat spreading over your cheek. But he's rubbing the back of his neck, looking at his feet. Mabel throws a theatrical wink your way and you're not sure why. Oh my god, Mabel. I love you so much. No kid, if you're paying. Scoot over, Dipper. I want breakfast too. Stanley, it's at least 12:30 now. Grunkle Ford, that means it's time for brunch. Duh. See, this kid gets me. Now let me in so I can get some grub. Dipper moves to your side of the booth as Stan sits next to Mabel. Ford sits at Dipper's side. Burp. Lazy Susan comes back, takes orders from another round of food and drinks for everyone, including Mabel, who decided she wants more pancakes. Okay, Mabel's stomach is the equivalent of the bottomless pit, because I only need 3 pancakes and I'll be stuffed. And I know that in these kinds of cartoons they have like this big pile that's at least a hand tall or something. You're starting to regret offering to pay, but as Stan and Mabel try their hand at the syrup drip race with Dipper cheering them on, Ford watching with a wide grin on his face, you know you don't really mind that much. Nah, that's sweet. Over the next few days, you continue to help out around the Mystery Shack, not out of obligation, but because you have got nothing better to do. Besides, Sue's practically the golden retriever of people. Jesus Sus Ramirez. My grandmother was right. I am the universe's most perfect man. Ah, birds landing on the shoulders. Is really digging the input on the current installments from an outsider's perspective. Bless his soul. The guy even offered you a job if you end up stranded here forever, dude, and needs to make a life for yourself. Stan nearly choked on his ice pop as he overheard. Thinking about it now, the relationship between Sus and Stan is unexpected, if not a little odd, but it makes you smile that no matter how many times Stan may roll his eyes as he does it, he'll always help Sus get something done just right. Ah. Showered and dressed, you go outside as per usual, but don't see anyone. After a few minutes search, you find Stan standing with his back to you in one of the exhibit rooms, admiring the weird and wonderful animal amalgamates he's collected for his tourist trap, head at his chin in thought. Am I interrupting something important between you and the gooseurky? Stan turns at the sound of your voice, smiling. Nope. You need something? You have any plans tonight? Ooh. He mulls over your question over a few moments, giving you an assessing look up and down. I've got a couple of errands to run. Why, you want to tag along? Only if you need a partner in crime, my dude. Stan blinks in surprise. Ha! What are you, psychic? Wait, what? Wait, really? It was just a figure of speech, but you guess you should have known better. Alright, I'm heading out in a couple of hours. Meet me out at front. How much is a couple of hours? A couple of hours? But no buts, Elisa. You can't rush this stuff. Trust me. Okay, sure. Not ominous at all, Stan. Yeah. Meet me out front if you think you can handle it. He turns to go, but stops for a second, then turns back. Oh, and wear black. Something you don't mind getting dirty. We gotta burglarize something, Stanley pines. 8-ball Alcatraz. And before you can ask why, he's gone into the depths of the shack. A couple hours turn into a handful, which you pass by watching some TV with Mabel and Dipper dozing off. You have no idea what kind of satellite they get out here, but the shows on now are some of the most bizarre programming you've ever seen. Once you've had enough of waiting, you change into your darkest clothes and sit out of the front steps of the shack, watching as the sun starts to sink past the trees. It's cloudy and unusually warm for this time of day, but there's a nice breeze out. It's strange that these errands need to happen so late in the day. Considering the things you've gathered about his criminal past, however, maybe this is a typical weekday night for Stan. The screen door creaks and out comes Stan, dressed in black, just like you are, with a lumpy duffel bag under one arm and a briefcase in the other hand. As he's about to speak, a sudden gust of wind comes along and ruffles his hair, and he smooths it down irritatedly before regaining his cool and nodding at you. Ready? Ready. You slide into the passenger seat and Stan settles into the driver's seat. It takes a couple of tries to start, but the engine's chugging away by the time you've got your seatbelt on. The radio stammers to life as the engine does, spinning out generic sounding rock music into the leather-scented air of the car's interior. After a moment spent adjusting mirrors and fiddling with knobs, Stan slots the gear into shift into drive and pulls out of the Mystery Shack's lot and down the road to town. Oh hey, this is pretty awesome. The radio's on, and Stan taps his fingers on the steering wheel to the beat of the music while he drives. So, I take it we're not making a quick trip for milk and eggs? He laughs and glances over at you. Nope. Then where are we going? First stop is to see a buddy of mine, a hunter. I get all my taxidermy supplies from him. So that's where you get your parts from? Yeah. Oh, I just figured you got them from a local farm or something. And do business with those hippies? Not a chance. Well, I really enjoyed making that showpiece with you the other day. I have no idea you were so creative. He glances over at you with poorly hidden surprise, turning almost immediately back to the road and shrugging. It's just gluing stuff together, really. Well, it takes a lot of skill. Like I said earlier, I often have trouble coming up with ideas for my drawings. Lately it's going smoother, but sometimes there are days where I'm just like, nothing. Just nothing. You have a real gift for it. He turns to you again and his cheeks go a little pink when he sees the smile you're giving him. Nah, that's nice. Well, thanks. After a moment, he faces the road again, but now he's stepping out the rhythm of the song with a little more enthusiasm and even humming the chorus as he drives. Do you have any other hobbies? Jesus, why am I yawning so much? He rolls his shoulder back in a shrug, his head tilting off a bit towards the window. These days I spend most of my time out on the boat with Ford, hunting monsters, discovering things. He pauses, watching the road without expression. I used to box. It shows. He looks at you again, grinning. That's amazing. I wish I had grown up with something like that. Hold on a minute. I was never interested in boxing. Why would you say that? I wouldn't mind showing you a few things if you wanted. I don't think I'd be any good at it. Hey, with me teaching you, you'll be throwing a mean punch and a mean left hook in no time. After 20 minutes of rural scenery, Stan pulls off the road and onto a long gravel driveway that disappears into the woods. Is this place? Stan nods and rounds a turn to reveal a clearing populated by a trailer home and a couple of sheds. The trailer is a bit run down and shabby, and one of the sheds looks like it's about one strong sneeze from collapsing. Not really the place you want to be at night, while alone with the guy you practically just met. Be honest, did you bring me here to murder me? Stan laughs, cutting the engine and resting his arm on the back of the front seat. Unfortunately, you figured it out, so now I definitely gotta kill you. I'm kidding, kid, relax. He follows to get out of the car, then turns back with a creepy blank expression over his face. Or am I? You chuckle nervously and he laughs again, pushing the door open. Fucking asshole. Seriously, I'm kidding, won't be long. Asshole. At the door to the trailer, Stan knocks, and the door opens on a dark interior before he walks inside. The door shuts behind him. You give the yard a few curious glances before realizing, Jesus, that the weird pile of sticks you've been looking at is actually bones. Oh wait, shit, I missed the last part. You quickly pull out your phone to look at it instead. Same. 10 minutes later, Stan's back carrying a large cardboard box in both hands. You see him fumble with the handle on the rear left door for a moment before you reach back over the seat and pop it open for him. A peek in the box reveals a few various shades of furry somethings and an animal skull you don't recognize. Burp. This doesn't seem like something worth busting all of your darkest thoughts for. We aren't by chance robbing a bank, are we? Because I would have brought gloves. Stan laughs. No, nothing like that. He starts the car up again and you're back on the road. Somehow, I'm not quite convinced. Okay, I gotta comment on the art for a second because I recognize this style somewhat as of Sophonites. Was their name Vusin on Tumblr? I'm not entirely sure. I'm gonna need to check it out later, but well, who knows where the night's gonna take us? Could be legal, could be not. That a problem? Let's make a joke. I mean, what can go wrong when Stanley is around? Can we swing by a jeweler? I need a new watch. Ha! You're a riot, kid. Stan takes the highway. The final minutes of sunset burned orange and the purple ahead of you, while the welcome sign of Gravity Falls disappears into the rearview mirror. A new song comes on the radio, something bright and bouncy with lyrics about love, and his fingers get back to tapping. In the retreating light, you can see faded patches of the trim of the steering wheel, the color worn away from decades worth of his touch. The passenger seat you sit in hasn't yet taken on the shape of someone specific. Even after all this time, the spring still feels brand new. Meanwhile, on the driver's side of the car, Stan settled easily into a seat which fits him as well as a finely tailored jacket. You tuck your leg up under its mate, leaning back into the darker leather of the DeVille's interior, and watch cars pass and recede out of the windshield. After a few minutes of music-backed silence, you feel like breaking it. Tell a joke. Why do chicken coops have 2 doors? Stan glances over at you, double-checking that this is the setup to a joke. I don't know, why? Because if they had 4 doors, they'd be chicken sedans. Oh, God. Get out of here. Stan laughs. Ha! That's pretty good. He thinks for a minute, presumably to come up with a joke of his own. I'm gonna save right at that moment. Alright, a blonde walks into a bank in New York City. Oh no, this isn't gonna be one of those awful blondes are dumb jokes, is it? He levels a withering look on you. Can I tell the joke? I don't know. Can you? You grin with your lower lip caught between your teeth, clearly joking, and he chuckles. Anyway, Blonde walks into a bank in New York. She goes up to the bank manager and she says, I'd like to take out a loan for $5,000. I'm taking a vacation overseas. A car passes you on the highway going 20 over the speed limit and Stan swears and then stifles it. Yeesh, night drivers. So the bank manager goes, well, miss, do you have collateral? We need collateral for that kind of loan. And she nods and says she does, and she takes the bank manager out to the parking lot where she's got a $50,000 Ferrari waiting, and she says, this is my car. You can hold on to it until I pay back my loan. Stan continues, glancing over at you and trying to suppress a smile. The bank manager's confused, but he figures if this lady doesn't pay, he's gonna have a nice new Ferrari in his garage, so he agrees. A sign for an exit ahead points off to the right, the text reading County Road 328, and Stan takes it off the highway. So he gives the blonde her 5 G's and hands him the keys to her car, and she heads off to Europe. A month later, she shows up at the bank with the 5 G's and the interest for the loan, which figures out to about $15. Stan continues, turning down an unlit gravel road, the headlights casting spooky shadows through the trees. The bank manager takes the repayment for the loan and the interest and has one of his employees bring the car out in front of the bank for the blonde. Out ahead on the road, a deer turns to face the car and then leaps across the road to disappear into the woods. Just before she leaves, the bank manager stops the blonde and says, Lady, I'm real confused here. You're clearly loaded enough to afford this car, and you paid back the loan and then some. Why take out the loan if you're so rich? And the lady turns to him, runs a hand through her hair, and says, Where else can I park my car in New York City for 2 weeks for only $15? It's pretty funny. You burst into wild laughter. Okay, I wouldn't have done it. I would have giggled. That's all I would have done. And he laughs along with you. Alright, I take it back. That was the best blonde joke I've ever heard in my life. Just as you finish speaking, Stan pulls off to the side of the road and the engine dies. As you step out of the car, the unearthly silence of the wood envelops the two of you. Out of the woods ahead, you see a single bright light. Is this the place? Just about. You follow him back towards the trunk, which he opens quietly and slowly, frowning as it squeaks. What are we doing here? You might not guess it looking at me, but I got a thing. What, you gonna murder me? The two of you stare at each other for a moment and he looks a little nervous. Okay, got your tongue? For art. Oh. I do too. Like I mentioned making art a couple of videos. He brightened, smiling in the dim haze of the trunk light. Well, this chump up this hill here has won by this artist Gustav Clowning. Snuck it from right out under me at an auction. I've been trying to buy it off him for years, but the jerk won't sell it to me no matter how much I offer him. And trust me, you meet this guy, you know it's out of spite. So we're stealing it? You got it, kid. Frankly, I'm surprised you haven't done this sooner. Stan laughs quietly, fishing around in the duffel bag for you don't know what. Wait till you see it, it's a masterpiece. I've been waiting 6 months for him to go out of town. Here, take these. He pulls out a pair of gloves from the bag, handing them to you. When you slide them on, they fit almost perfectly. I guess your size, right? You nod, wiggling your fingers. Stan chuckles, pulling out a pair of his own, a set of black leather driving gloves with silver snap closures that glint in the light of the truck. You ready, kid? You bet. Stan tucks a few things into the inner pockets of his jacket that you can't see in the low light, and with the trunk shut just as quietly as it had opened, you follow him up into the woods towards the distant lights. As you near it, a porch takes shape within the light's glow. Behind it, it's the dark shape of a house sits in the even darker woods. Stan leads you past the front porch and around the corner of the house that sent to a set of stairs that appears to lead into a basement. Ah, this is my favorite part. He withdraws a small black shape from his pocket, something that looks like it might be a pen. The pen-shaped thing turns out to be a small flashlight, and he holds it in his teeth as he opens the black case to reveal a set of lock-picking tools. You're a lucky person, kid. You get to see an artist in action. He gets to work, inserting one tool in and wiggling it down the bottom of the keyhole, then pulling out another and poking at the innards of the lock with it. You glance around in the darkness as he works, half expecting to get caught before you get anywhere, but then the lock clicks and Stan stands, opening the door for you with a flourish. That was a lot quicker than I expected. He beams with pride and you smile politely as you step through the door with him. The basement is unlit. It smells like dust and mildew, the air sour with wet dirt and mold. Stan moves past you into the dark, his little flashlight pen still lit, and leads you through a cobwebby laundry room and towards a door across from the bottom of a set of rickety wooden stairs. Wait till you see this, kid. He picks the lock of this door just as quickly as he picked the last, and the door creaks open into a dark room with odd flooring barely lit by Stan's flashlight. Stan goes first, and as you follow him, he hits a light switch, revealing a beautifully designed gallery with plush scarlet carpets and gleaming wood paneling full of paintings of sad clowns. No way! Stan looks more excited than you've ever seen him, his arms crossed over his chest and a warm smile on his face. Can you believe that hillbilly chump has a collection like this? You shake your head slowly, still looking around the room with wide eyes. Someday all of these are gonna be mine. Come on, I'll show you the ones we're here to get. You follow him to the back of the room. He stops in front of a large painting of a clown with bright red lips and blue circles on his cheeks, his eyes outlined in black with comically large eyelashes painted onto his eyelids. His neck ruff droops sadly, and his costume is dingy and worn. What you think? Oh, this is beautiful. You really like this kind of thing, no kidding? Stan's voice is edged with hope. They're all beautifully done. It's so nice to meet somebody who really appreciates these like I do. Jeez. I mean, it's fun. Well, why not? It's a masterpiece. Maybe I shouldn't tell Stan it's a masterpiece because it's funny as hell. He might not like that very much. Well, why not? This is a masterpiece. The way the artist has captured his pain, the way the framing makes him look small and pitiful even though he takes up most of the canvas, the juxtaposition of the inherent joy of clowning and the anguish this man clearly feels is what makes this kind of painting feel really special. Well, let's get this thing off the wall and out of here. As he works to get the clowning off the... God damn it! As he works to clear the clowning down off the wall, you wander the room looking at the other paintings. As you look over a portrait of a mime with dirt on his white and black striped shirt, you're suddenly grabbed by the shoulders. Boo! Ah! You scream, eyes shut in fear as you throw a weak karate chop at the source of the noise, making unimpressive contact with something pretty solid and muscular. After a moment's panic, you squeeze whatever the thing is with your hands and open your eyes, finding... Ha! Was that supposed to hurt me? Stan's arm and shoulder. Boy, he's really picking up some heat in there. Wow. Don't feel them up. Why would you do? He laughs, apparently very pleased with himself for scaring the absolute life out of you. You need those boxing tips even more than I thought. You couldn't defend yourself from a fly with moves like that. You laugh shakingly, and it's then that you realize you're still feeling up Stan's arm. No! God damn it. Sorry about that. You pull your hands away a bit too fast, and he chuckles, blushing all the way up to his ears. Stop! Christ on that bike. No problem, kid. Oh, jeez, I gotta save. He clears his throat, and the silence between you begins to grow awkward before it's interrupted. Upstairs, in what is supposed to be an empty house, you hear footsteps crossing towards the door to the basement. Stan apparently hears them too, a sudden series of expressions crossing his face from shock to confusion to terror and finally settling on indignation. He quickly takes you by the arm, whispering harshly in your ear as he drags you towards the entrance of the clown room. As soon as he comes in here, shut the door and I'll shove these boxes in front. You nod, and just as a line of light from the top of the stairs blooms into a white swath, you and Stan duck behind a wall near the door to freedom, one corner of the stolen painting poking you uncomfortably in the ribs. Who's down there? Slipped feet come down the wooden steps ahead of you, and when their owner notices the light on, he holds something long and gun-shaped out in front of himself. Pines, if that's you, I swear to God, I'm really gonna shoot you this time. Gun-shaped? Gun-shaped? Gun? Gun! Stan nudges you, jabbing a thumb towards the door leading outside and jerks his head towards it. Oh dear. You take a step out from behind the wall, take Stan's hand in your own, pull him into a jog and then a run, the two of you scrambling up the concrete steps out into the cool night air as a voice swears behind you. Stan kicks the door shut on his way out. There's a startled yelp behind you as it makes contact with the owner of the house. There's more swearing, but you lose it behind you as you run, flashlight in one hand and Stan's head in the other. When you reach the tree line, you part and maneuver your way through bushes and brambles, Stan crashing through them behind you. As you run, a deafening gunshot goes off behind you and you realize that you're being chased. Holy smokes! Run for it, Hades! Asshole, you brought me into this. The noises get closer enough that you can hear your pursuer swearing continually and loudly. You slow a bit, flashing your light behind you and raising the beam to find the distant but visibly enraged face of a man with a rifle in his hands. Acting on pure instinct, you fling the flashlight in the direction of the angry man and take off running again. After a moment, the man cries out, and the sound of pursuit fades with one final cry. Damn you, Pines! Stan cackles. Sounds like you hit him. You reach the Stanmobile first, sliding into the passenger seat as Stan slips his new clown egg into the back seat before joining you in the front. Both of you panting and huffing, Stanley hurriedly starts the engine and pulls off. Holy crap. At the next driveway, he does the fastest three-point turn you have ever seen in your life, and then peels off down the gravel road and screeches out into highway. Stands quiet for a second before letting loose into wild triumphant laughter. I thought he was gonna catch me that time for sure. Did that man just shoot at us? Stan nods, still chuckling and apparently pretty pleased that he didn't get hit. He lets out a long, loud sigh, his white-knuckled hand at 10 and 2 on the steering wheel. Yeah, that was... Holy moly. You okay, Elise? I'll let you know when I find out. He pulls back onto the highway, back into the direction you came from, and you lapse into comfortable silence. After a while, he starts humming along with the radio, and knowing the song this time, you hum along with him. Gravity Falls welcome sign passes by again, but the route Stan's taking doesn't seem to lead back to the shack. Instead, you come to a stop outside rows and rows of used cars, a car dealership. Stan slides out of the car, withdrawing something from a pocket within the breast of his jacket. Once you get out and around the front bumper, you can see it's a cigar. You mind if I smoke? Yeah, actually, sorry. Stan puts the cigar back. Oh, that's nice. At least he respects me. Oh, at least my wishes. From your place a ways down the road, Stan surveys the lot, eyes sweeping back and forth until they land on what looks to be a fuse box under the dark overhang of the roof on the farther side of the dealership. What are we getting? New drive belt, some spark plugs, a couple other things I can't remember the name of and aren't worth explaining. It won't take all night though, right? You lean back against the front bumper of the car next to him and stuff your hands in your pockets. There isn't much light pollution around here, so the stars are bright and numerous above. Provided your car gets fixed up, this might not turn to be out such a bad trip. So, how are we going to do this? We gotta get rid of the lights. I doubt Bud's clever enough to have night vision cameras. But we got the power to the whole place and the cameras are gonna be gone anyways. So we cut off power, find a car the same make and model as yours, and I dig out the parts for what your car needs. An hour maybe, an hour and a half tops. I can get the lights. You sure? Yeah, I got it. How hard can it be? Yeesh, starting to remember why I quit doing this kind of thing. You sure you're alright with this kid? You know, robbing the place? You don't think I can do it? No, that's not it. You've been keeping up with me fine just all night. You've been keeping up with me just fine all night, but you just don't seem like you have a lot of experience here. I think I've gotten plenty of experience tonight alone. He smiles, a warm and genuine expression that ignites something fuzzy and soft inside me. Oh my god. You don't notice you're staring until he turns away and moves towards the trunk. He reaches into a car, pulls a lever under the driver's side to the front seat, and the trunk pops open. You follow him to it, and after rummaging around it in the contents for a minute, he brings out a pair of pliers. Alright, you go over, take care of the lights. I got a few things to get together. You crouch down behind the fence when you reach the lot, scrambling along in the shadows until you reach the dealership's main building. With a peek over the edge, you see that the wall of the building is cast in shadow from a poorly placed streetlight. Another peek, and you spot a car the same make as yours off the back of the lot, near a sign that says Discount Section Big Deals. It takes an embarrassing amount of effort to get over the fence, but you manage it and press yourself flat against the wall, inching towards the fuse box. It's locked, but you pry it open with the pliers and look over what's inside. A bunch of switches, some wires. Okay, let's save right here before I fuck something up. Rip some wires out. Let's do that. That sounds smart. Not the most elegant job, and you realize after you've done it that you're glad you're still wearing the gloves Stan gave you earlier, in case what you did was dangerous. The lights, however, remain unchanged. Flip a bunch of switches. You hold your breath and nothing happens. Bigger switch then. Fuck. With your face pinched in concentration, you push the biggest switch in the opposite direction and the entire property goes dark. You slip the tools into your back pocket and take a look around just to make sure the power's out. With a satisfied nod, you feel your way out into the parking lot, knocking your shins on 3 separate cars before you figure out you should probably just stop and wait for Stan. Where you at, kid? His voice isn't far away, but he isn't close either. You feel your way around an SUV and then a sedan? The gravel in the parking lot crunches under your feet and you reflexively stare down at the ground instead ahead of you as your eyes slowly adjust to the darkness. Out ahead of you, a flashlight turns on, scans the light until it found you. Found you? He sounds amused, probably at the way you're standing with your arms spread wide over a sleek modern sports car. Getting familiar with the merchandise, yeah? You give the car an awkward pat and make your way towards the beginning of the flashlight's beam. You see anything that makes with the same make as yours before you shut the lights off? Yeah, there's one back in the discount section. It's kind of insulting now that you think about it, actually. He hands you the flashlight when you reach him, and you start slowly back towards the discount cards. Discount. Your car it's a classic. It's usually extremely reliable. To be perfectly honest, it's not even your fault that it's in the state it is. It was Ford and his, whatever it is. Your deepest salty thoughts when hands suddenly grip your ribs on either side. Gotcha! Ah! You scream and throw back an elbow at whatever's got a hold of you, and you hear Stanley yelp and fall in a clatter of kicked gravel and metal clanking together. He scared you again. Holy smokes, kid. You turn the flashlight to where you heard him fall, and you find him with a hand cupped over his face, blood dribbling out from between his gloved fingers. Aw, jeez, did I break his fucking nose? Yeah, I deserved that one. Yeah, you did, but at the same time, no, you didn't. Oh shit, I didn't. I'm really sorry. Nah, I'll be alright, just help me up. You tuck the still lit flashlight into your back pocket for a moment, reaching down and finding his hands in the dark to pull him up. Once he's on his feet, Jesus, you retrieve the flashlight from your pocket. As you bring the beam to Stan's face, you find him holding a handkerchief over his nose and squinting. He's apparently brought a backpack with him, and it's sitting on the ground behind him where he presumably dropped it when you elbowed him. You know, that was a really solid hit. You got a lot of power in there. I don't know if you were just saying it to be nice earlier, but I really could show you some moves, teach you how to direct that strength. This isn't the time you're bleeding out of your eye. He removes the hanky from his nose for a moment, gently prodding at the bridge of his nose with a finger and frowns. Well, it's not broken, that's for sure. That's good. He laughs quietly, taking a clean corner of the handkerchief and dabbing at his nose with it, grimacing and sniffling hard when it comes back still clean. Good to go? Are you sure you're alright? Yeah, of course, I've gotten worse beatings than that, believe me. His face is flushed from the sudden injury, but he looks otherwise okay, so you sign and you plunge your hands on your hips. Then let's finish this. He reaches out towards you, then catches a glimpse of the blood and reconsiders, wiping his gloves as clean as he can with the hanky. When you reach the car you spotted earlier, he pops the hood and drops his pack on the ground next to the bumper, unzipping it to reveal a jumble of various wrenches and tools. Alright, hold the flashlight steady on the engine and keep an eye out. Keep a lookout like I told you to. It doesn't take long for him to get what he needs for your car, shutting the hood and setting his pack on it as he stuffs parts into it. That was quick. Nah, the parts you needed are easy to find. Just take the right. Hey, what's going on over here? That you, bud? Oh shit. The beam of a flashlight finds you both and Stan turns around quickly, leaving the bag behind himself and the hood. Yeah? Pints? What the heck happened to your face? And what are you doing here at... Hey, are you stealing parts again? No? Very convincing, Stanley. Stan inches closer to you until your shoulders touch, and behind you he pushes the bag into your hands before lowering his voice to speak to you. Run for it. Keep the bag out of sight and toss it into some bushes nearby. I'll get it later. You nod, picking up the bag and holding it behind yourself. The flashlight by the road moves over and you slowly scoot away from the car and backwards. Hey, you! Where are you going? You move backwards a little faster, still keeping the bag out of sight, and when the light leaves you to check on Stan, you make a break for it towards the back fence, throwing the bag over it ahead of you. A new voice nearby speaks and you yelp. Hey, where are you going, burglar? You're under arrest. For burglary. There's a shout from Stan behind you and then a heavy thud and one of the car alarms starts squealing. You're so surprised by the car alarm that the second cop gets his hands around your wrist and slaps a pair of handcuffs on you. You better quit your squirming there, buddy. We caught you fair and square. Aw, come on, Blubs. I saved the town from an interdimensional demon. Give me a break. Sorry, Stan. We got a job to do. Stan grumbles quietly, and the man behind you leads you towards the road behind Stan and Blubs, who's now got him in cuffs. You need to get out of this, but how? Go for the cop's gun. Oh, Jesus, no. Try and grab something off his belt that's a little less dangerous. Let's try that. You close the space between you and the cop behind you. Once something moves between your fingers, you grab it, bringing back, well, you're not sure what it is. But it feels like it's cold and metal, and so you slip it into your back pocket. Ah, shoot, Dorland, we don't have to cruise. Me and my ideas for romantic strolls in the moonlight. Well, why don't we just commander Stan's car? Do you mean commandeer? I don't know. Edwin Durland, you are an absolute delight, and I cherish having you as my life partner. Durland giggles behind you, and Blubs giggles with it. Aww. Oh my goodness. That's so sweet. I love those guys. It's canon. They shot a cannon at the end of the series. You can't convince me otherwise. The two of them push you and stand in the back seat, crowding you with the clown egg. Stan grips it protectively, muttering under his breath about the fuzz. He's quiet for most of the ride, only speaking up once. You okay, Elise? I'm alright. He falls silent after you respond and stays that way all the way back to the station. Inside the station, Durland leads you to a pair of chairs by a desk, and Blubs disappears down a hallway. Blubs is back after a few minutes, a deep frown set into his face. After directing his frown at Durland, he takes you and Stan down another hallway to a set of cells. At the first, he withdraws a set of keys and opens the door. You and Stan are uncuffed, and with a solid and somewhat alarming clang, the cell door shuts and locks. You two better get comfortable. We'll get your prints in the morning. Stan grumbles, settling down onto one of the provided bunk beds, and you sit down on the one next to it, facing him. He peels off his gloves, tucking them inside out into his pocket, and fiddles them with a loose thread on the thin wool blanket of the bunk bed. Through the door at the end of the hallway, you hear Durland say something about fancy black finger paints to Blubs. Here in the bright fluorescent lights, you can see that he still has a bit of blood smeared on his nose and on his chin, and you feel a flush of embarrassment when you remember you're the one who did that to him. I can't wait to see how everyone back home reacts when they find out I've been arrested. How are we gonna get out of here? Stan shrugs, crossing his arms over his chest and flopping back onto the mattress. Don't think we can, kid. I'll see if I can convince them that you got hypnotized or something into coming along with me. Keep you out of trouble. Listen, if you're going down for this, then so am I. He laughs quietly, propping himself up on his elbows. You don't want to get into trouble with the law, kid, trust me. This isn't my first time spending the night in jail, not by a long shot. Sounds rough. Yeah, well, so it goes. This won't be so bad compared to 5 years in a Colombian prison. There's a story behind that, but he doesn't look like he wants to tell it at the moment. Anyway, the only way we're getting out of this is with the keys. Then we should just slip out a window or something. You think for a moment, stuffing your hands in your pockets and suddenly remembering the thing you grabbed off of the second cop, Durland. Oh wait! You jump to your feet and dig into your back pocket, withdrawing the small metal thing you've stolen to find that it's a set of car keys on a plastic keepsake photo fob. Stan's not looking, staring down at the floor of the cell instead, but you think you know what to do with these. You go out to the bars of the cell looking for Durland. Hey, can you get me out there? Can you hear me out there? You dropped your car keys. The faint discussion in the other room stops, and a moment later, Durland comes into view. Where'd you get my keepsake key fob? I've been looking for that. You hold it through the bars with both hands. As he reaches for his key fob, you reach out to his belt with your right hand and unclip the ring of sets from his belt. He doesn't notice. Dumbass. Durland thanks you for returning his key fob and gives both you and Stan a scrutinizing stare before heading back down the hallway and through the door. You hold the keys out in front of yourself and jiggle them triumphantly. Look what I got of Durland. Stan stares at your hand in disbelief, then at you, then at the keys, and back at you again before laughing incredulously. Are you sure you don't have experience with this kind of thing? Stan takes the keys from you, looking them over in his palm. He smiles up at you, then looks down at the keys and covers his mouth with his hand, dragging it down over his chin. I can't believe I've been shown up by a tourist. Well, get used to it, buddy, 'cause I've got skills. He looks proud, smiling up at you like you just handed him $1 million. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's get the heck out of here. He stands as you reach through the bars and try keys until one works. The door swings open with a quiet creak, and you creep out down the hallway to the door. You open it a crack, looking out into the lobby and see Blobs asleep at the front desk, Durland not in sight. Slowly you pull the door open and move into the lobby. Stan taps your shoulder and whispers low. We gotta get my keys, you see him anywhere? You glance around, spot them next to where Blobs is asleep, drool pooling on the table. Shoot! Crossing your fingers for luck, you sneak over the desk and reach down to grab them while suddenly Blobs stares and mumbles. Dang, Bigfoot, stealing my shoes, stretching all my shoes. Stan snores behind you. You manage to suppress a laugh as you pluck the keys away. Wait, hold on. Stan disappears into another room and you're stunned, wondering what the hell he could be doing right now that's more important than escaping. Before you have a chance to call him something you might regret later, he reappears in the doorway with the troublesome clown painting under his arm. Seriously? Duh. Alright, let's roll. Slipping out with only a click of the station door closing behind you, you and Stan climb into his car and escape into the night. After stopping by Bud dealership to pick up the hidden backpack, you and your partner in crime head back to the shack in comfortable silence. You'd feel tired if it weren't for the adrenaline. You carry the backpack inside while Stan brings the clowning and the briefcase, setting both on the kitchen table. I'd call that a successful night. Even though we got arrested, so would I. And fun too. You grin over at him and realize, in the bright kitchen light, he's still got blood on his face. How do you keep forgetting? You're the one who elbowed him after all. Well, come here. You pull one of the chairs from under the table, gesturing for him to sit down. Oh man. This style. This is actually work from Silver Knight. I really love their work. It all looks so it looks so easy when you look at it. Like about zero thought went into it, like flash, and ta-da, you have a Stanley pint. But I know it doesn't work like that. It definitely doesn't work like that. He looks a little wary, but obeys, the chair's ancient metal frame creaking under his weight. You grab a couple paper towels, turning on the faucet in the sink and wetting them. Clean them the fuck up! Mentally steadying yourself, you hold the side of his face and neck in your hand. With gentle pressure, you guide his head to tilt back until he's lit up fully by the overhead light. Don't look so fucking shocked, dude. You can feel him blush under your hand, his skin heating up, and he seems too surprised to protest or even speak as you swipe the now dry blood from his face. He's quiet while you work, watching you with warm brown eyes rimmed by dark lashes. I could have taken care of this myself, you know. You're a blushy boy. He says this, but he hasn't pulled away or make any move to leave. I did the damage. The least I could do is clean up after myself. Anyway, you've done plenty as it is. The paper towels you have become too soiled to work with, so you toss them in the trash and get back to a few murder. Judas, no. Your hand returns to his cheek and you could be imagining this, but it almost feels like he leans into it. God. Why would you do this to me? This was only supposed to be for fun. I really did have a good time with you tonight. I had no idea crime could be so fun. He smirks, avoiding your gaze. I had a good time too. You pause for a moment, realizing something. Those cops aren't gonna come after us, are they? Stan shrugs. Probably not. They're nice enough guys, but not exactly competent. He laughs quietly as he smirks up at you. You stand back to make sure you're finished and toss the last paper towels into the trash. You sure it's not broken? Nah, I'm fine, don't worry about it. Your hand lingers on his cheek. Fuck it, we're going all in. Hug him. You take a fortifying deep breath and lean down, wrapping your arms around him. Thanks for the car parts. You pull away and he's got a funny look on his face. Shit, did I fuck up? And for the good time. Well, good night. He stares at you for a moment with that look on his face, then composes himself and gives you a goofy smile. Sleep tight, Elise. You brush your teeth and change into your pajamas, and it's not until you get into bed that you realize you're still smiling. The rush from it all hasn't completely faded, but after a while your eyes grow heavy and you drift off to sleep. Nobody back home is ever going to believe this. Can you give me dating tips? You're good at this. Fuck's sake. Okay. I am going to end the episode here. Fine Summer's wedding. Am I supposed to be worried right now? But I'm really enjoying this dating sim so far, and not for the reasons you guys think I might enjoy it. You get out of here with that shit. It's actually really well made, and I can tell a lot of thought has been put into this game, in the text, in the backgrounds. It's all really impressive stuff, and I will put out some links on everybody who worked on this down in the description, so you can definitely check them out. Like Kiki Kid, she's by far one of my most favorite, and she's also responsible for no, not the backgrounds, but for when Stanley or Stanford or Dipper and Mabel would appear here. She did that. I know she did that because I recognize the style. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you guys in the next episode of Dating Grunkle Simulator. This is fun. I'm having fun. Houdoe!